Dank J says, Brian, your energy and lust for life is what makes me watch daily. Love Reptarian Friends.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I try. Listen, you guys know I'm always honest with you guys and I'm open with you guys. And I've said that, today was a pretty good day.
Yeah.
In the sense that I felt as close to normal as I felt. But so, this obviously going back to really last March when my anxiety went off the charts. I mean, I fell off the cliff, it was bad from March till probably, August, September. It was really, really bad. I mean, there was never a day that was good. It was bad every day, all day. And that's a lot of months. That's a lot of months of 24 hours a day feeling terrible. And for people that don't suffer with depression or anxiety, and I don't really necessarily suffer from depression, even through the toughest times, I was really pretty optimistic about, I knew eventually I was going to be okay. Even though I questioned it, I still tried to have an optimistic outlook on things. But I felt terrible. And then, from say August, September through probably up until 2 months ago, I was slowly getting better, where I'd have more better days than first. I'd have more worse days, but a few good days, and then there'd be more good days than bad days. And lately, it's been mainly good days. But the one thing I said about a week ago to Lori was the only thing that happened was I didn't have the same fire that I always have. I was the kind of guy that woke up and literally jumped out of bed and was ready to. I mean, I couldn't wait to get to work. I couldn't wait to do this. I couldn't wait to see what the day brought. And I felt like the anxiety and all this other stuff went away. But and Jay and I talked about this the other day. It might have been the fact that when you're in that state, you try to take the highs and lows out of your life, and you try to be as even keel as you possibly can. And maybe out of necessity, your brain kind of shuts down a lot of that, those endorphins that get you hyped up and get you excited about things. And a week ago, I told Lori that I said, I'm feeling almost normal, but the one thing that I'm lacking is this extra zest, the thing that always made me, that super high energy, the super everything I was excited about. I was curious about everything. And it just didn't feel the same. It was there, but not on the level that I was used to. And I will say that in the last couple of days, it feels like that's starting to come back.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Today, I felt like I woke up and I was excited about the day. I was excited to get into work. I knew we had a lot going on. It was going to be fun. There was all kinds of stuff. I was excited about the podcast. All day I've been excited. I'm not always excited about the podcast. I like podcasting. And most days, even when I didn't feel good when I podcast, it made me feel better. It was almost therapeutic.
But you probably weren't thinking about it way before the podcast, right?
Right.
That's crazy.
No, and so today I was excited. I couldn't wait to get on the podcast and talk to you guys, and I knew it was going to be solo, so I knew it was going to be a little bit different format and stuff like that. So thank you for doing that and or wanting to start your day with me, but I can assure you that I'm going to be even more energetic as time goes on and more enthusiastic and more optimistic, more motivational, hopefully, than I even have been over the last 6-8 months, year, I guess, really.
Duke says, hey, Brian and Jay, love what you do. Thanks for the Lori mail I got from you last July. Wow. He eats like a boa. Will you have any hognose hatchlings this year?
Yeah, we should. We got some females that are due to lay eggs anytime,
Sweet.
So hopefully we'll get some hognose babies. I think we'll definitely do that. And good that you got the Lori Ball. I think the Lori Ball project is really booming right now. I think that people are excited about it.
And it's just the beginning.
It's just the beginning to see what's going to happen. We'll have some cool stuff this year. Next year is going to be our big year when we have a bunch of new stuff that's online that we can really mix in and do some cool stuff. So, but like Ryan and Ben from R&B Reptiles, they've got some cool stuff going this year. So yeah, it's a good project to be in, and hognose are great. So you'll love them.
Simple Man says the short that you posted today was great. Love seeing a blue-eyed leucistic hatch.
Yeah. So I posted a picture of an egg cutting of a blue-eyed Lucy, and again, just mixing in this short thing, playing the YouTube game, basically, when you do social media, you have to understand the platform, right? You have to understand that platforms right now, to be honest with you, so you've got basically, Facebook, Instagram owned by the same company. You've got obviously TikTok, you've got YouTube, and then Snapchat and stuff like that, which I honestly don't do anything with Snapchat. I probably have missed the boat. I'm gone. I'm done. And then, of course, Twitter as well. They're all very different, but you got to remember that they're all fighting for the same eyeballs. You know what I mean? And obviously, TikTok is dominating the game right now. I mean, they're the largest growth with users. They're the number one app for people under 15 years old. And so what you have is obviously you had the reactionary things from Instagram to roll out Reels to try to compete with TikTok. Now what happened was really what really took the wind out of Snapchat sales is when Instagram came out with Insta Stories, right?
That's right.
And so I think what Instagram thought is they could do the same thing with TikTok. But I think that TikTok just had such a grip on things. And quite frankly, I think that they've got a better platform for it too.
Oh, it's so much better.
Yeah,
I mean,
and the algorithm, everything is just more suited on TikTok than it is on Reels. But so you have Instagram fighting for TikTok, so they reactionarily launch Reels, and now they're pushing content for Reels. So you have to realize that you have to switch up your strategy and start putting more energy into Reels because they're incentivizing Reels. And the same thing has happened with YouTube now, as YouTube is trying to, again, compete with Reels and compete with TikTok, and they're really pushing Shorts. And I think that you're going to see, as a matter of fact, I don't know if you noticed this, Jay, but YouTube did an update where they basically replaced the trending tab with Shorts.
No, I did not see that. That's crazy.
Now, trending tab is still on the page, but it's like super small, and if you didn't even look, you wouldn't even know where it is.
Wow.
Which I've hated the trending page forever anyways, because I think we've only trended, twice ever on YouTube.
Yeah.
Once for like 20 minutes, and then once we were trending for about 2 days. But it's a curated thing. It's bullshit in the sense that it's really not YouTube content. It's always like big artists, it's movies, it's Saturday Night Live, it's not, it's turned into like, I almost wonder, and I don't know, but I almost wonder if YouTube's trending turned into a pay for play.
Okay.
Where like big companies like Jimmy Kimmel and stuff like that were paying something to get, or YouTube was just looking at it as like, hey, this makes us more.
More people are going to watch it, more revenue.
Yeah, not even that, but more like, hey, we're not just kids anymore. Now we've got Jimmy Kimmel on, so it just makes them a little bit more pro. Yeah, a little bit more professional. Maybe that's why they were doing the trending stuff. But the trending page really went from originally being YouTube content to being almost all really professional content, with the occasional, whatever Mr. Beast thrown in there or something like that. So.
Duckster says, "Hey Brian, you're a huge inspiration to me, and I gave gave me motivation to get into breeding. Do you have experience with the genetic band gene in ball pythons?"
So I don't. So okay, I will admit right off the bat that I probably am not up to snuff if there's new things happening in the last 18 months or so when it comes to the genetics of ball pythons. But if it is what I think it is, the genetic band gene is more of a polygenic, not polymorphic, but polygenic.
My bad, yeah.
And you can kind of see, banded. If this is what is genetic banded,
okay.
So basically what it is it does pass on, but it's not incomplete dominant. It's not recessive. It's polygenic, where you can actually breed for.
Almost looks like Enchies. Enchies have that in a way where they're
Enchies are banded, but this is like more of a normal ball python that.
Yeah,
just,
of course.
It's much like if punch up blackback ball python.
Blackback?
Yeah, blackback ball python. It's so unless there's a new genetic banded that I don't know, this is the same type of thing, right? You've got a genetic blackback that you can reproduce blackbacks, but they're not a genetic mutation. It's something that occurs in the wild but will pass on, kind of like,
coral snows in a way, right?
Yeah, exactly. So unless there's something I don't know, the genetic banded is that way. So, you breed genetic banded to genetic banded, you're going to get more banded stuff, and you could probably polymorphically breed for it to get even thinner and thinner.
Eventually,
but it takes many, many generations to get to that point. But if you breed a genetic banded to a normal, you're going to get some banded, some not banded, so on like that. So that's how that genetics works. Unless something happened that I don't know, because I'm not like in the know of every single ball python thing that happens these days.
Scottish Rob says, "Is there a waiting list for GHI Mojave or Super Lorry leopard females?"
Well, so first off, go on bhbreptiles.com, and there's actually a tab for a waiting list, and you can actually put your name in for that. I don't know if there's a waiting list because I don't do any of that. I have nothing to do with sales, but I do know that if there's a specific animal, whether it's a GHI Mojave or Super Lorry leopard, that you can actually put your name on a waiting list, and we will guarantee call you wherever you list on that waiting list. If you're number 1, you get the first shot at it. If you're number 5, you get the 5th shot at it. So we do have that on the website. You can just go. I think it's in the upper right hand corner. It says wait list, and you just click on that and you put that in. And we keep a very close eye on it. My office staff is really good about that stuff. So if you did it to me, you would never get it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I would write a note on my desk. It'd be buried by 485 papers with no time, and you would never get it. So,
so facts.
Yeah, that's true.
Scottish Rob also said, have you gotten your vitamin D levels checked?
Yeah, I go to an endocrinologist all the time, so all of my vitamin levels are always checked. Yeah, and I take a supplement that's called Supreme Vitamin D. I think it's like 1,000 milligrams a day or something like that. So yeah, I get all my from everything. I mean from testosterone to I don't take testosterone because my levels are good, but they test it all. I mean, it's an endocrinologist. That's what they do. It's a hormone doctor basically, and I get my blood drawn and every 3 to 4 months, and they check every single level from cortisol all the way down the list to make sure that I'm doing well.
Python Viking says, "Hey Brian and Jay, I'm a Norse pagan from Northwest Louisiana."
Wow, that's a weird. I didn't know they had Norse pagans. In Louisiana.
Yeah, you didn't know the Vikings landed there.
Yeah, it's interesting.
He says, "When I found out you were doing a podcast, I got on and binged every episode of Snake Talk."
Well, thank you so much. It's interesting.
Thanks, brother.
I mean, number 1, love Louisiana. Number 2, I think the whole Norse thing is very interesting. I watch a lot of that shit on TV. Very interested. I didn't know that there was a gathering down there in Louisiana. It's interesting. I wonder if there's more than one of you. I mean, obviously there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens down in New Orleans in particular.
That place is nuts.
But you definitely think more voodoo than
Norse. Yeah,
Norse. But paganism, I guess, is similar. But regardless, it's a cool place. Have you ever been, Jay?
I've never been.
We gotta get down to Louisiana.
Yeah.
Well, we were in Louisiana, right?
Yes, we've been to Louisiana. I haven't been to New Orleans.
Yeah, NOLA. So we'll
my brother's
went
a few times. He loves it.
I love NOLA.
He's a foodie, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're a foodie, that's where my love of oysters started. It was in NOLA.
Oysters are banging.
Yeah, I had eaten oysters a couple times and didn't really care for them, and then I went to NOLA and had them and fell in love with them. And now I although I haven't eaten them since COVID because I don't go out. And you can't really, order fresh oysters on Uber. But I suppose maybe you could.
You definitely could.
I guess you could.
I'm not a big fan of ordering fish and having it driven to my house. Freaks me out.
But yeah, so I gotta get down there. I love it. The Audubon Zoo is one of my favorite zoos in the country.
Oh, wow.
Really cool zoo.
V-Dog says, "Just wanted to thank you for doing the podcast even when you were anxious. Yeah. We all really appreciate it, and I look forward to it all week long."
Well, thank you so much, V-Dog. I appreciate you. And yeah, I mean, there were days, Jay will attest to this. Yeah. There were days that literally 15 minutes before the podcast, I wasn't sure if I was going to do it.
It's true.
I was literally like, I don't know I can do it tonight.
And we all talked him into it. We were like, Mister, you're going to feel better when you're done.
And I think there was I can think of maybe 1 or 2 times during the podcast.
And that sounds about
right. I didn't feel good at the end, like that I struggled through the whole thing. I remember there was one podcast that it wasn't a solo podcast. It was a checking in podcast. But I remember about halfway through, I almost walked out. I almost walked out because I was feeling so bad. But 99% of the time, even when I felt horrible, by the time we were in the middle or end of the podcast, I felt much better.
Yep.
So it's like I said, it's been very therapeutic for me. And the same thing goes with the vlog. Listen, if I didn't have to wake up every morning and come and film the vlog, I don't know if I would have made it through the last year.
Definitely not as quickly.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. It was a blur. Listen, anyone that deals with that, I tell people it's really weird. So I have this really crazy memory, and people may not know this about me, but I remember before I was 2 years old, when I was a year and a half old, I remember because my great grandmother died when I was 18 months old, and I remember her vividly. And I remember most of my life. The last 14 months, I'd say 12 months, really, let's take out the last 2 months that I've been much more mentally sharp. It seems like it didn't happen. It's like a dream. I remember bits and pieces of the last year, but I don't remember the totality. And there's a lot of things that happened in that year that I just I was thinking about this. We're pulling Kluber clutches today. I don't remember pulling Kluber clutches last year.
Isn't it crazy?
Not even one clutch. I don't remember pulling one Kluber clutch last year.
That's so nuts.
And we did the whole Kluber season. We filmed it all. It's on the vlog. But I don't recall actually pulling even one clutch last year.
Damn, that is nuts. I didn't even think about that. That's so wild.
and it's wild because, that's just not me. That's not, I'm the kind of guy that like Lori would
You'd
say
be like, do you remember that one with the dot on its head in that
seriously,
third clutch?
Like, literally, like Lori would ask me like a question like, have we ever produced it? I'm like, yeah, 12 years ago we had this clutch. There's 5.3 hatched out,
Exactly.
I mean, like that's the type of memory I have. And so to have an entire year where you basically don't remember anything is pretty wild,
It is
but it
bizarre.
also tells you how powerful the brain is.
Damn, son.
Can we rail this in?